where are you at on the Reds? They've been, I think, the definition of meh so far this year, just hanging around that 500 mark.
They have been, but this is a team that, in my view, and in the view of some executives, clearly wants to go for it. And releasing Candelario or DFAing him and then bringing up their number one prospect, Chase Burns, after 13 minor league starts. He was their second overall pick in the draft last year. That signals to me that this team really wants to win, and they're doing everything possible to win. So I would expect, while they have been meh, they've been prime in the meh division, they are a team that will be looking to improve at the deadline. We have a number of teams, and this was kind of the point of the segment yesterday, that we don't really know where they are, and we kind of can't figure out what they're doing yet because they can't figure out what they're doing yet. I don't see the Reds in that category. Now, are they going to go crazy and just trade prospects left and right? That's not what they do. But do I expect that they're going to do a number of different things, or at least a couple of different things? Yeah, I do.
Another one of the teams you covered as my hometown team up here, Seattle. And they had a hot start, and now they're back to being meh. Outside of Cal Raleigh, what does this team need to do to actually make a push here and maybe make the playoffs, maybe even win a very winnable division that is being led by a team that is where the entire team's hurt and they're still up 5 games? What does Seattle need to do to help Cal Raleigh score some runs?
Trevor, in my opinion, they need to go get a first baseman, and there are a couple of guys out there. Josh Naylor, if the Diamondbacks are willing to move him, which they are not just yet, and if he is healthy, because last night he left the game with a shoulder issue, that's one name. Ryan O'Hearn is an even better name. This guy's having a breakout year at an advanced age, and it's great to see. He's going to be an all-star, it looks like. He's a guy who could definitely help them. So that is the one position where it seems to me that is an obvious place to add. And with their pitching, they have to do something to boost the offense again. Now, their pitching hasn't been quite as good this year, but Gilbert is back now. They're still waiting on Bryce Miller, who knows there. But they've got the top 4 intact. And from that perspective, they've got to go and try to do some things.
Can Cal Raleigh beat Aaron Judge in the MVP? Because for me, right now, he's got to be talked about. He's got to at least be in the voting. I mean, if he continues this, he's going to be talked about as the all-time greatest season by a catcher that catches every day.
I don't even know why this is a question. Of course he's going to be in the candidacy for an MVP if he continues this. And of course he's going to be right there with Judge. And of course it's a conversation. I don't know that we ever give out MVPs in April or May or even June. For that matter, we don't give them out until at the end of the season, September. So depending on how the rest of the season goes, he absolutely can overtake Judge. And if he does, he does. And if he doesn't, he doesn't. But to me, it's not even a question that he is in that conversation. I don't even know why people look at it like that. And I've seen a lot of commentary along these lines. Oh my gosh, can Cal Raleigh challenge it? Yes. Hello. 32 homers, as Scott just said. And he is playing a position where it's tough to win an MVP from because it's tough with the responsibilities that a catcher has. It's also tough, as some people have pointed out, in this era of wins above replacement, where catchers are not necessarily given the credit they deserve. If Cal Raleigh is there at the end, then WAR to me is a less significant thing this year. And it should not be that significant any year. It's a guidepost. It's something you look at and definitely take into consideration. But there are so many variables that go into catching in particular that has to be taken into account.
All right, Ken, since if you have a vote for the AL MVP right now, who are you voting for? One word. And don't say I won't answer.
I won't answer. You know why, AJ? Because it's June 24th. Who cares?
Right now. I'm saying right now, Ken, not 2 months from now. Right now.
Right now, Cal Raleigh. But at the same time, again, it's an irrelevant question. You're just a former catcher rooting for your old friend here, and, hey, that's cool.
Respect.
Hey, it's first half awards. We're getting close to the end of the first half.
Okay,
so even just for fun. And here's my thing. So I want to follow up here, Ken. How much do you think WAR factors into most writers looking at players these days as a guide versus as an end all? I know it's been written about quite a bit. I just want to point out, I think the two that most people will go off of in the public sphere are Fangraphs WAR. And as of today, Aaron Judge is at 6.1. Cal Raleigh is at 5.3. They're the two leaders. in my mind, that's so damn close if you're following WAR. And then on the baseball reference WAR side, it's actually a little more interesting. You got Judge at 5.6, Raleigh's at 4.4. So again, so close that you should look at other factors in my mind. And then Jeremy Payne is actually at 4.5 on the baseball reference side, right in between those. Shortstop, Astros team that lost a lot of players, that's leading the division. So your thoughts on all of that?
WAR is something that definitely most of the writers look at, if not all. And that's fair. It is the one stat we have that is all encompassing, but it's not perfect. And it's an estimate. It's not a stat like, for instance, batting average, which is not an estimate. WAR is an estimate. And when you have differences of, say, 0.2, 0.3, it's equivalent, essentially. So when it comes to a catcher or even a shortstop competing with an Aaron Judge in right field, obviously, I know WAR takes into account defensive positioning or positions and where players play. But again, does it take into account all the different responsibilities a catcher has with a pitching staff? Of course not. So it has to be looked at differently. And we, as a voting group, have to be flexible enough in our thinking not to make this the WAR standings every year. And I don't know that we have. Obviously, the guys who are the leaders in WAR do really well in the MVP voting because they're the best players. But it cannot be an end-all, be-all. No stat can be, really. And that's basically the way I look at it.
People liked this last time, so we're going to do it again. Read one of the fantastic, unique, creative dishes on HelloFresh. Creamy Alfredo truffle cavatappi pasta?
Cavatappi, maybe? But I'll just go with the Indian-inspired chicken paired with turmeric rice. That sounds awesome. And everything about this is delicious, fresh, comes in a little bag. And I like to cook, so I like to chop up the ingredients. I like to throw stuff in the pan, mix it up. It makes me feel like I'm doing something, Scott, and they always come out amazing.
Yes, you can be a star at home with America's #1 meal kit. Make your summer enjoyable and delicious by signing up for HelloFresh at HelloFresh.com/FT10FM and get 10 free meals with a free item for life. That's HelloFresh.com/FT10FM for 10 free meals and a free item in every box. 1 per box with an active subscription. Free meals are applied as a discount on the first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan.
We have a debut for Mets who need starting pitching a little bit. And Frankie Montas is going to make his first outing. Now his rehab appearances haven't looked the best. What can we expect out of Frankie? Is he the solution to some of the Mets' problems right now as they're scuffling?
Trevor, I have no idea because of that 13 ERA on the rehab assignment. Now, I did Mets Phillies over the weekend for Fox, and I asked around with the Mets before that game, all right, what is the deal with Montas? Why is he struggling so much at AAA? And what I was told is that he has had a mechanical issue that they've identified. Now, he had not corrected it as of yet. It's one of those things, Trevor, you can probably speak to this, that he's fine with in the bullpen when he's throwing, but once he gets into the game, the bad habits kind of reemerge, and that can happen, right? So to me, the good news there was, all right, they've identified the problem. He knows what it is, and what I was told is that he's working hard to correct it. Sometimes, though, it's not so easy to translate, and when you're going from AAA to the major leagues, I would imagine, Trevor, it becomes that much more difficult.
Yeah. Yes to all of those things. Bullpens are not the game, especially if it's a rotational thing, which I'm guessing that's a problem he's had in the past with getting his timing going. So yanking pitches or leaving them up arm side a lot, which is not what you want out of the gate. So hopefully that is something that they can address. But shout out to Jeremy Hefner. There's not many guys in the league that can, I think, handle those problems quickly better than him. So he's in good hands.
Well, also, Trevor, we should mention the Mets' issue right now, their biggest issue, while the rotation is a concern and it's regressed and they've had injuries and regression and all kinds of things happening, their offense is really top heavy at the moment. They're not getting much 5 through 9 at all. So it's kind of a perfect storm of events kind of submerging them right now. And clearly they're going to have to fix all of these things to get back to where they were. I don't know that they will, but at the same time, they still have a very strong team. They have a president of baseball operations who will make the tweaks necessary. They are going to be looking for an infielder as well as a starting pitcher, most likely. And of course, all teams will be looking for bullpen help. So the deadline for them is looming as more interesting than it might have been, say, 2 weeks ago.
Hey, both New York teams are struggling right now, Ken. So you can throw the Yankees in there also as a team that's not doing great
yeah.
right now. For New York, there's people panicking in New York. There's a lot of craziness happening in there. But tonight, Chase Burns goes against the Yankees. I asked C. Trent Rosecrans yesterday, could they have not have found an easier landing spot for Chase Burns to make his debut than at home against the Yankees? Could they not have waited till the Rockies or someone else comes into town to give him? Instead, they're like, hey, go get the Rockies.
Certainly a fair question. This guy's the second pick of the 2024 draft, and now he's facing Aaron Judge less than a year later. That's a lot to ask. Now, I read about him a little bit, and I guess Trent wrote an article in which it was related to him that I guess Chase Burns' dream is to face Aaron Judge. Well, the dream starts tonight. We'll see if it's a dream or a nightmare. But from what I understand of Chase Burns, and I'm not a prospect expert or draft expert, so what I know is basically what I read. But he's a guy who's not afraid. He is a guy who is emotional on the mound, but controlled. So he pitches with passion. And he's someone who, of course, has great stuff. That's why he was the number 2 pick in the draft. And you see right there, that's who he is. So I'm looking forward to this. I always love debuts, period. And this kid sounds like he's obviously got something, much the way they pushed their number 1 prospect to the big leagues last year, Rhett Lauder. So it's going to be really interesting tonight to see him against Aaron Judge and the rest of the Yankees.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.